This is Andrew Delgado with Pastor Jerry Cook, continuing our coverage and giving you updates on the Hughes Fire that is going on currently in Castaic. As of 2 o'clock, actually 2:30, excuse me, the acreage has reached over 5,000 acres in coverage. This is the fire that broke out just before 11 a.m. this morning, with initial reports at 50 acres, however, has quickly grown since then. Quickly, about 30 minutes between 500 acres, excuse me, and then now it is currently sitting at 5,000 acres. There are evacuation orders in place in and around Castaic, with new evacuations in North Valencia of Tesoro del Valle, Sterling, Kelly Johnson, and Francisquito, as well as Reyes Adobo. And as of recently, there were road closures on the I-5. Initially, reports the I-5 was open. However, the I-5 is closed just north 126. So there are alternate routes for you to take there. Go ahead and take the State Route 126 or alternate route on the 14. Avoid the area if possible.
Yeah, if you don't live in Castaic, you have no business to be there, folks. And so I think it'd be the best thing for not only the folks that are residing in Castaic trying to get out, as well as the fire officials that are attempting to fight this fire, is to get out of the way. And as far as we know, we have several evacuations that have taken place. Some folks that I know are being evacuated off of Sloan Canyon Road, which leads right up to Castaic High School. And there's a lot of smoke in that area as well. If you're not, not feeling the heat, if you will, because most of the fire is burning north and northeast of the town of Castaic. The winds are definitely blowing the smoke back west over the freeway, and so there's a lot of smoke in that area. There's a lot of soot. There's a lot of ash, and breathing is not going to be all that great, especially if you have respiratory issues. What have you got for me, Andrew?
So there are evacuation orders at level 3, and those have been in effect for a while since this fire pretty much got underway. And those include Castaic Lake, Ridge Route, Paradise Ranch Road, North Lake Elementary, Sloan Canyon Road, as you mentioned, Hillcrest Parkway, Romeo Canyon Drive, Housley Canyon, Canbridge area, Charlie Canyon area, and I just mentioned earlier, Tesoro del Valle, Francisquito, Sterling, Kelly Johnson, and Reyes Adobe.
And we know that you folks out there in Castaic also love your animals, both large and small. So there are some animal shelters that have been set up for Lancaster Animal Care Center and Pierce College. Those are for large animals, and then small animals, unless you can take those small animals with you. But if not, Palmdale, Agora Hills, and Lancaster Animal Care Centers have some space available. But I would definitely call ahead to make sure, because obviously people will be taking advantage of those. And by the way, the fact of the matter is this fire has grown exponentially. It has grown very quickly in a very short amount of time. Thankfully, much of it is burning in a more rural area of Castaic in the Angeles National Forest, to be more proper. However, there are communities up in that area that are in the path of this fire. Of course, you've got Lake Hughes itself that is up there, as well as Lake Elizabeth, and then, of course, Leona Valley. And then beyond the Leona Valley, you've got the Antelope Valley as well. So hoping and praying that a lot of this will be contained within the next day or so. But as of right now, there is zero containment. When we get an update on that, we'll let you know. But as Andrew mentioned, if you are in Castaic and you can get out of Castaic, please do so. All the roads leading out, Copper Hill, Newhall Ranch, and all the adjacent roads that are coming out of Castaic are all clogged up right now. So again, keep yourself hunkered down at home, unless, of course, you're in those evacuation areas and you need to get out of there.
Yes, and do heed the warnings of the evacuation orders. And this falls under, if they tell you to get out, get out. Even if a warning, if you're able to do so, go ahead, get out, just so you can do so in a timely manner, because it will clog up the roads, as you mentioned, Pastor Jerry Cook. But if everybody leaves at the same time at the last minute, this will block the roads and cause just chaos as everybody tries to leave at the same time. So everyone's going. It might be slow, but you are on the move and you are out of there safely.
Yeah, we don't want this to look like Godzilla has come through Santa Clarita,
Correctly.
and everyone is running out of town at the same time. Uh, as we said earlier, if you have no business in Castaic, please just watch the coverage here on Hometown Station through our live feed, or catch us on Facebook and get some of the updates, or of course some of the local news affiliates like Channel 7, Channel 4, Channel 2. That'll give you all the coverage. In fact, we're watching a lot of the coverage right now, and noticing. Well, we're seeing some a trailer right now, mobile home park.
It looks
right
like a
now.
mobile home park is in the direct impact zone there.
And we're also noticing that a lot of this fire is burning, as I said, in rural areas, a lot of the hillsides, the Anderson National Forest, which, of course, a lot of this area hasn't burned. Some of it has burned a few years ago. But again, we've had no rain. This has been a very unusual winter. I shouldn't say that. You know, we live in Southern California. Unusual for us is probably usual for most people, but there is predicted to be some sort of moisture coming this way Saturday into Sunday. We're praying and hoping that it's not torrential in nature, but that it's moderate, if you will, that allows these folks to fight these fires. And of course, if we do get that moderate rainfall and colder temperatures, it's supposed to plummet. Tomorrow it's supposed to be about 80 degrees in Santa Clarita, and then by Sunday it's supposed to be 47. So it just goes to show you just how big a swing we're going to have in terms of weather here in Southern California. Usually we have rain by the middle to the end of January. Here we are, January 22nd. We've not had any measurable rainfall at all. All we've had during this whole winter cycle has been winds, winds, winds. And the other thing, too, is Santa Ana winds are more akin to the fall months here in Southern California, usually October, November, sometimes in December. So it's very unusual to get it in January. But we've had a lot of Santa Ana winds here in January, and they've been relatively sustained, folks. It seems like every day we've had winds for the last 2 weeks since the whole Pacific Palisades fire started a couple of weeks ago. So, any updates from either Andrew or Jen?
Yeah, and that just fuels the fire just to continue the conversation on wind. And it looks like this is wind driven, which has actually pushed it away from Castaic and away from the residential area. However, we are getting reports that the winds are subject to change and actually change direction. So we're hoping that the firefighters get a good handle on this, or at least on the front line there. So when they do change, if in fact they do, which is going towards southwest, towards the residential area, the line will be in effect there and protect everybody down below.
LA County Fire is planning for a press conference today at 5 p.m. What time we got here? 3:20. So coming up here shortly, we will hear from LA County Fire. Certainly they are just as exasperated as everyone else is, but that hopefully we'll get a little bit more information. Maybe they'll have a better idea of how to handle this, what their best next step is, so to speak. And so that's taking place again today at 5 p.m. We will obviously keep an eye on that. The evacuation point, by the way, that was originally set up for Valencia High School has been relocated now to Hart High School, and that is at 24825 Newhall Avenue. Again, this is now at Hart High School. So once again, if you maybe were heading to Valencia High School, had somebody who was there and you're trying to get a hold of them, they are now being moved to Hart High School, again, on Newhall Avenue in Santa Clarita.
I know a lot of people are frustrated with the politics of the fires. We really don't know how this particular fire started. There was some conjecture earlier about the possibility of arson. That, of course, has not been substantiated. But there is the possibility that that could have taken place. And if that is the case, then we hope that those individuals or individual are taken into custody. But the fact of the matter is, it is interesting. You know, you get some winds, and then all of a sudden a fire just, magically pops up. And here we are, at the 3:30 hour, and we're talking about a fire just shy of 6,000 acres and a huge amount of growth in just a short amount of time. But again, I guess the positive, depending on how you look at this and how you spin this, a lot of this fire is burning in a more rural area. And for those of us that are, conservationists and like our national forests, we know that this is the natural process of kind of cleaning out stuff. We decry the government about not clearing out the underbrush. Well, this is one way to get all of it cleared out. Unfortunately, in the process, some people, of course, get evacuated, and homes and structures are threatened. So let's pray and hope that that continues to burn into a more rural area as opposed to more evacuations and any structures being threatened in the near future.
Yes, and the evacuation warnings are in effect because the winds, like we mentioned, can change on a dime and bring that fire right back. Not saying that they're going that way. However, right now they are going north away from Castaic in the more rural areas, as we've mentioned. However, we're not out of the woods yet, as the winds are subject to change in the coming hours ahead of us and tonight to reach actually 60 miles an hour in the evening here.
Yeah, the weather app is showing right now that there's about 60% chance of rain on Sunday, and Castaic itself will be 49 degrees for an afternoon high, which just goes to show you the big the spin here, because on Friday it's going to be 71 degrees, so it's definitely going to be the weather is definitely going to change in a very short amount of time here, and that's the kind of stuff that we we have to get used to in Southern California. I always like to tell people that when you live in Southern California, you don't like the weather, just wait a minute, because usually the weather changes very, very fast here, and it can change on a dime. As Andrew was talking about the wind directions, because things are going to warm up tomorrow into Friday, that means we're going to get a more westerly wind, and it's going to come off the deserts, and so that's going to cause things to get warmed up a bit, but that also might change the trajectory of this fire.
And we're for keeping track of any kind of rain that would come down. You had talked about this a little while ago, Pastor Cook, that then you see mudslides and you see structures losing their footing underneath them. Maybe that had survived, for instance, the Palisade fires or the Eaton fires. Hopefully we won't see anything of that nature in terms of that intensity, but that's always a concern as well. It's too much of a swing in one direction or the other. So a little bit of rain would be great. This, right now you take everything with a grain of salt, of course. This is predicting about a half an inch of rain on Sunday. Nothing on Saturday. It looks to be just kind of like a one-time shot at a little bit of rain this upcoming Sunday, the 26th.
This is also supposed to be a cold system that's supposed to bring lower snow levels. So a lot of this fire is burning within the 2,000 to 3,500 foot elevation level. And a lot of this storm is supposed to actually drop snow levels down to about 3,000 feet. So I'm looking at the weather app right now. Gorman is about 3,000 feet. They're predicting snow on Sunday and Monday. And so that means some of these higher ridges and some of these higher peaks where, if this fire is still burning on Sunday, and we hope that it is not, we hope that there's some reasonable containment between today and the weekend. At least there'll be some relief when it comes to potential snowfall as well as rainfall for the lower elevations.
And we've got the evacuations have kind of been holding tight recently. Nothing new necessarily. Just to kind of very briefly recap, we've got Ventura County, Zone 1 and 2 have both been evacuated. So, and that's kind of on the extending east to the LA County border, north of 126. So, and again, that was a little while ago, not even an hour ago, but just keep that in mind. And then our list of evacuations here, I had it in front of me. We've got Valencia. Let me bring this up here. Valencia, and then, oh goodness, now I'm losing my spot here on our.
Don't lose your spot, Jen.
Here we go. Okay, so it's a list here, but just to kind of recap, yeah, there's a lot of paperwork around here, a lot of moving parts. Castaic Lake, Ridge Route, Paradise Ranch Road, North Lake Elementary, Sloan Canyon Road and Green Hill Drive, Hillcrest Parkway, Romeo Canyon Drive, Halsey Canyon, Cambridge area, Charlie Canyon area, Tesoro, San Francisco, Sterling, Kelly Johnson, Reyes, Adobe, and then we had the updated right here on that pink one. Some more updates here on our evacuation zones in Valencia, Tesoro, Sterling, Kelly Johnson, and like I said, the San Francisco. So you can always check out our website. We have constant updates. We've got our news team on top of things updating at hometownstation.com.
And traffic is heavily impacted in and around Castaic and the I-5 as people are getting off of work and trying to get in the area. Again, if you do not need to be in the area, please stay away and avoid the area if possible. The northbound I-5, all lanes are closed just north of the State Route 126. The detour is on the 126 with alternate routes on State Route 14. And please avoid the area if possible.
And keep in mind that even though you are not impacted by the fire directly, you will be impacted or are being impacted by the smoke and the ash and all of the unhealthy air quality that is in and around this fire in the wake of the fire. And so I've just got a text here from those living off of Bobcat Way and Sloan Canyon that the smoke is really, really bad. And that's just only about 300 yards or so from where our church is located there in Castaic. And then, of course, we're just, a mile down the road from Castaic High. So that whole area is being impacted, not necessarily by the fire, but definitely by the smoke of the fire. And then, of course, the ashes and all the other, the possibility of embers and things like that blowing into that off of that side of the freeway would be just tragic. Because obviously it's just as dry on that side as it is on the side that's burning. So let's pray and hope that that does not occur. But we'll keep you updated. There's going to be some LA County is going to give an update here at the 5 o'clock hour, which of course they are. They seem to be constantly giving us updates depending on the fire. There are fires ravaging northern San Diego County as we speak right now. It starts to make you wonder: are these things normal? Are these fires being set? Who knows? The conjecture will continue, and the conspiracies will continue to be played out. But the fact of the matter is, there was talk earlier about this being an arson started fire. We don't know yet. That has not been verified, but that is something that we heard, or at least I heard earlier. But again, have not got any verification on that right now. Any updates, Jen, in terms of animal shelters for those who have large animals there in Castaic?
We've got space for large and small animals. So large animal shelter at Pierce College. They're opened doors for your large animal shelters. We also have a small animal shelter, a couple of them in Palmdale and Lancaster. Palmdale is off of Sierra Highway. Lancaster is off of West Avenue, one there in Lancaster, West Avenue I believe. And we hear teams heading out probably as we speak. So those animal shelters in place for you. And then for you, if you're evacuated from your area, from your home, from your workplace, you can head to Hart High School. Previously, they were sending everyone to Valencia High School. That has since changed. So now they are having you head to Hart High School at 24825 Newhall Avenue in Santa Clarita. College of the Canyons, I need to verify that, but previously they were also opening their doors, their East Gym, for evacuations. All classes canceled at COC for evacuees.
Again, this is called the Hughes Fire. This is northeast of Castaic, the town of Castaic. And as of right now, over 5,000 acres have burned in a very short amount of time and zero containment. So we will keep you updated as to not only the acreage that continues to burn, but also whether or not there's achievement on containment. And if any other road closures or any other news breaks, we will let you know here on your hometown station. You can get not only watch our live feed on Facebook, but of course catch us on Facebook and get all of our updates via hometown station.
All right, with that, we'll take a quick break as we refresh our news here and get caught up so we can give you the up-to-date information. On the Hughes Fire, follow us at hometownstation.com and our socials at KHTS Radio.